Now, the Hunt Palmer Show.
A magic beyond anything you could ever imagine.
You are now listening to the Hunt Palmer Show. Brought to you by Sagrera Farms on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Locking down the middle of the day.
You really think that's the best idea?
Live from the Raising Cane studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
He's quite a piece of work.
Welcome in. Hunt Palmer coming to you from the Raising Cane studio downtown in the capital city on this Thursday, working towards the weekend, brought to you by Sagrera Farms Premium Angus Beef. Got Jordan Kitchens and Braxton Rizzuto back there on the ones and twos. Fired up. You are here with us in the second hour. Our Thursday regulars, Chris Blair talking Tigers 2:15. We'll have Luke Johnson talking Saints at 2:30. I want to talk about this basketball team that LSU has by the numbers. I wrote a story about it on LouisianaSports.net, kind of putting a bow on the non-conference to an extent. They still got 3 games to play, and we'll get to those when we get there. But your identity is kind of formed at this point after 10 games, what you want to be and what you've been to this point. So we'll talk about that in 15 minutes. I want to talk about rebuilds in the NFL and kind of what schedule the Saints are on compared to some of their peers in the National Football League. So we'll do some of that at 1:30. Javonte Smart has had a huge last couple of months. I didn't even know he was playing. I want to briefly mention that as well. We'll start things with LSU football. It is, of course, our opening drive.
Welcome to the big league.
It's time for Hunt's Opening Drive. Presented by Fabry Chevrolet GMC in St. Francisville.
So, y'all know this by now. I tell you sometimes I go number digging to see what the numbers show me. And sometimes I have a preconceived notion that's proven true. Sometimes I have a preconceived notion that's proven false. Sometimes I just kind of start going. And I think that's where I was this morning when I started to comb through Michael Van Buren's Pro Football Focus numbers for this season. I want to be clear. I don't think Michael Van Buren's going to be LSU's quarterback next year. But we don't know, right? The next 3 weeks, there's going to be a flurry of activity in the transfer portal. I don't know what Trinidad Chambliss' future holds. I don't know what LSU is going to do beyond that in the transfer portal. You look at the names that have popped up with DJ Lagway and Sam Levitt. And there are plenty of names that we can get to when that time comes. But there is one guy that's on the team that started what will now be 4 games that I think we've got to talk about, right? I mean, I just told you I don't think he's going to be the guy, but I do want to talk about it. And I guess my preconceived notion, which is not necessarily preconceived because I watched him play every snap that he played, was that it wasn't very good. And certainly LSU didn't score a lot of points in their last 3 games with Michael Van Buren at quarterback. If Harlan Berry busts that last run against Arkansas for the touchdown instead of sliding down at the 20-yard line, does it look a little bit better? Yes. Did he make big plays to help win that game against Arkansas? Yes, but West Kentucky game was dismal offensively, and certainly they didn't get anything going against Oklahoma offensively either. But I wanted to just kind of look at what Pro Football Focus had to say about Michael Van Buren. I kind of broke it into 3 categories: the depth of the passes that LSU threw with him, the protection that he got on throwing downs, and then what he was able to do with his legs. That's kind of the 3 things that stood out to me the most as I was looking through the numbers with Michael Van Buren. So let's look at the depth of his passes. Y'all know by now, it was screen heavy, y'all. It was real screen heavy. And there are a number of reasons for that, but let's get into what the numbers actually say, the hard data, not the subjective. Well, they kind of felt like they did this. This is what they did. 29% of his throws, so we'll call it 30% of his throws, almost 1 out of 3 of Michael Van Buren's throws came behind the line of scrimmage. 1 out of 3. That is a huge number. 56% of his throws were under 10 yards. Now, that's not as skewed. You don't generally just chuck it way down the field often. Like maybe Rohan Davies' team with Josh Reed that went to the Sugar Bowl with Illinois, that team was chucking it down the field very often. But vertical passing game, that's like an aspect of your passing game. Very few teams are chucking it more than 10 yards often. But 56% of his throws were under 10 yards in the air. But here's a more telling statistic. Only 10 times this season, well, there was some early mop-up duty and then certainly the last 3 games of the year, but only 10 times this year, which is 8% of his throws, traveled 20 yards in the air. And I thought perhaps that they were really limiting Garrett Nussmeier's air yards this year because he was hurt and he just could not throw the ball down the field. Well, you got Garrett Nussmeier out, and then you brought in Michael Van Buren, who's healthy. And Chris Hilton's still really fast, and Barryon Brown's still really fast, and Aaron Anderson, when he's out there, can still run. Like, there are still deep threats on this team. And you just didn't see any of that in LSU's offense. Michael Van Buren completed 3 passes that traveled 20-plus yards in the air. That's a very, very small number. Furthermore, the longest passing play of any of Michael Van Buren's 126 throws. He threw the ball 126 times. The longest gain went for 34 yards. Further, against Western Kentucky, the Hilltoppers, you threw the ball 43 times with Michael Van Buren in that game, and the longest gain was 23 yards. There's just simply no explosiveness whatsoever to this offense, and there's no downfield threat. Take Nussmeier and his injury out of it with Van Buren either. So I don't blame all this on Michael Van Buren because we saw some of this with Garrett Nussmeier. We saw the ineptitude of the offense a lot of the season, and some of that has to do with the play calling. Some of that has to do with the quarterback play. And some of it has to do with the offensive line play. So I wanted to dig a little bit more into the protection that Michael Van Buren specifically got this year. And as you might imagine, the quick passing game did not allow a lot of pressures on Michael Van Buren. He was only pressured on 18 of his throws this year. Now, sometimes you get sacked. Sometimes you flush out and then don't throw it and run. But on 18 passes, he was pressured. That's a very low number. And you realize that's because he gets the ball out so quickly because that's what LSU was doing, throwing almost a third of their passes behind the line of scrimmage. But when he was pressured, he was only 9 out of 18 for 50%. He threw 2 touchdowns and was not picked. One of those touchdowns was when he got outside and threw it to Bauer Sharp in the end zone for the touchdown against Arkansas. But he was only 50% when he was pressured. So let's go further than that. Let's go to the blitzes. When Michael Van Buren was blitzed, he was 21 out of 41, so 51%, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. When he was not blitzed, that completion percentage went up from 51% when he was blitzed to 68%, 4 touchdowns, only 1 interception. So blitzes did affect him, did drop his completion percentage by 17%, and I think that is on him for sure, but also on the offensive line for not giving him as much time as you might like. But then you go from the pressure statistics to, okay, how much did his ability to move his feet help LSU? How much did that help? And if you take out the sacks, he ran for 171 yards and a touchdown, which is far more in the course of what was essentially 3.5 games. I think that's fair to call it that, 3.5 games. A little bit of mop-up duty here and there, and then 3 full starts. 3.5 games, 171 yards and a touchdown. That's not insignificant, and he had the 35-yard run to kind of put the Arkansas game on ice down the right sideline, which was a really nice play there. He had a good run against Oklahoma as well that I think went for 23 yards against a really stingy Oklahoma defense. So he did use his feet a little bit, but ultimately my final thoughts on this entire exercise were he offered a little bit with his legs. He didn't offer anything down the field as far as the passing game goes. He was fairly inaccurate, and ultimately the LSU offense was not productive with Michael Van Buren out there. You played the worst defense in the SEC in Arkansas. You played a Conference USA team in Western Kentucky, and then you played a really good defense in Oklahoma, but you weren't able to put up a lot of points really at any point while he was out there. The offense never really got into a rhythm outside of maybe the last 2 drives of the Arkansas game where you went and got the touchdown to take the lead, and then you iced the game, which was actually helped a little bit by the running game there. So it's not an earth-shattering discovery here, but it's certainly not a digging effort that made me look at this and go, yeah, I think this guy really needs another shot. Now, I'll tell you this, and I'll be very, very blunt about this. I hope he stays at LSU, because I think the odds of LSU going to the transfer portal and getting 3 quarterbacks is pretty remote. Like, it's possible, but you think somebody's going to sign on that dotted line with the understanding they might be the 3rd-team quarterback? Like, you got Van Buren as a 2nd-team quarterback, and a nice paycheck for a freshman, sophomore to be is something to entice someone to go to a school. And Van Buren certainly got that leaving Mississippi State, where he was the backup, to come to LSU and be the backup. You got a nice payday for that. But I hope that Michael Van Buren stays, because he does have some talent. He now does have, as far as portal quarterbacks go, a lot of SEC experience. He started 2 this year and 6 last year. He started 8 SEC games. That's essentially a season prior to next year's 9-game slate. But he's played a season of SEC starting quarterback. That's not nothing. And he does move a little bit. He has seen good defenses. I hope he stays at LSU. I just don't think he's going to be the quarterback of the future. And there was nothing I found in the numbers that would suggest otherwise. I do think that he completed passes at a little higher rate than I thought. He had 5 drops around the line of scrimmage that would have pushed that completion percentage way up, somewhere in the neighborhood of like 98%, around the line of scrimmage, which most quarterbacks can do, but really wasn't asked to do much more than that. And the offense, I think, was prohibitive to any sort of development. When you've got an offense that does not run the ball and does not stretch the field vertically, you know how tough it is to play quarterback, where you only have to focus on windows between 0 and 10 yards, and you're a defense that only has to focus on a 10-yard window in the field. I think the offense was prohibitive. I think he would be a better quarterback in a Lane Kiffin offense. I think he will be a better quarterback as a 3rd-year player than a 1st or 2nd-year player. So, I don't think he's going to be LSU's quarterback of the future. However, I would like him to stick around, because I need bodies at quarterback. And right now, if he leaves, you have none bodies at quarterback. That's not ideal. So, just a look at Michael Van Buren. I've got all those statistics kind of written, and it's probably easier to digest in written form over at LouisianaSports.net. It's a free article. It's right there on the front page, 2nd story from the top. You can go check that out if you'd like to. Kind of a look at Michael Van Buren's first season at LSU. That's our opening drive. We'll come back. What's the identity of this LSU basketball team as they march towards conference play? We'll talk about it next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
One Bath and Closets. OneBathAndClosets.com is the website. David Duvall and his team, 30 years redesigning and remodeling bathrooms and closets. If your house was built between 1990 and 2000, you're looking at 30-ish years old on that house. There's a chance that some of your fixtures and some of your plumbing in the bathroom are starting to break down. There's a chance that it's dated in terms of its functionality and what it looks like. If that's the case, consider a bathroom renovation. It can be big, wholesale renovation. They do that at One Bath and Closets. It can also be a deal where they just do a tub-to-shower conversion for you. That's possible as well. They're happy to take out that old tub you don't use, or it's dingy or it doesn't function anymore, and put in a gorgeous new shower or a new tub. They can do that for you at One Bath and Closets. Don't just call the guy down the street and see if he can figure it out and give him some cash. Go with the company that's been doing it for 30 years, licensed, bonded, insured, has a master plumber under contract. They can help you with big job or a small job. Financing is available, 0% up to 18 months. It's One Bath and Closets. Find them online, onebathandclosets.com.
Supreme Jasmine is premium American-grown rice. From local farms to your table, every grain is supreme. Pick up a bag of Jasmine or any other of our Supreme American rice.
These ice cubes could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they cradle and cool the crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Nicely done, ice cubes.
With all the delicious chicken finger options, it was an impossible decision.
How about a box combo? Good. Now what can I get for you?
No, I want a Caniac combo with extra cane sauce, no slaw, 2 extra toast, and a half sweet tea, half lemonade.
Celebrate the holidays with Raising Cane's chicken fingers. One love.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
I'm lawyer Collins Locke Meredith. Among the most important factors to consider when you're hiring an injury attorney is trust. You trust your attorney will put your interest first, treat you with respect, fairness, and honesty. You trust them to be there for you when you need them. At Lock Meredith, Sean Fagan and Associates, thousands of clients have trusted us to represent them, and for good reasons. Please visit us at lockmeredith.com to learn more, and whether you hire us at all, give us a call at 272-5555. You have nothing to lose.
Looking for cleaner energy? Propane is energy for everyone. And when you're cooking with clean, affordable propane, you're cooking with gas. In the wintertime, nothing heats a home like Louisiana propane. And when you need hot water, propane's got you covered. Oh, and you won't regret that propane generator when the power goes out. I'm Miss Louisiana, Gabrielle McLeod, and to find more information and to find a propane dealer near you, visit louisianapropane.com.
My father, J.B. Falgu, had a vision of growth for First American Bank and the communities we serve. The bank's foundation was built on his legacy of compassion, loyalty, and dedication. Through his years of leadership, First American has prospered to heights even J.B. could not have imagined. I know my father would be extremely proud of the customer service and financial stability that
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Sagrera Farms.
Thursday shows brought to you by Sagrera Farms Premium Angus Beef. Gonna see my guy Sean Sagrera this weekend pick up some of that delicious prime Angus beef. If you're looking for some of the best beef you can find in the country, you can find it just north of Baton Rouge in Ethel at Sagrera Farms. You understand that herds are at some of their lowest levels since the 50s right now, and our population is significantly bigger than it was in the 50s, right? So it's just supply and demand. That's why you're seeing a premium on beef. You're seeing prices rise when you go buy the beef wherever it is that you do that on nearly a weekly basis, right? Well, if you're going to pay a premium price, you might as well get a premium product. You know you're getting prime Angus beef when you get beef from Sagrera Farms. And it's not just talking about ribeyes. I'm not just talking about roasts, things that you don't necessarily cook week in, week out. I'm talking about ground beef as well. You're going to get prime ground beef from the folks at Sagrera Farms. You go over there and get half a cow, a quarter side. You're going to get an IMF score north of 9, which is prime. And in some cases, you're talking about 11, 14, 17, 20, which is double the standard for prime. It's delicious. It's incredibly well marbled, flavorful, tender. We've had it in the Palmer house for months, and it has been a huge hit for us. It can be for you as well if you give Sean a call. Go see him up on the farm in Ethel. Sagrera Farms, premium Angus beef. All right, basketball is going to take center stage here eventually. We've been so deep into what we should be in, LSU hiring a football coach, building up a staff, National Signing Day, and certainly the Texas Bowl is one thing. I don't know how important it is, but it is one thing. And then we'll get into the transfer portal, which will just be absolute mayhem at the first week of January. But I wanted to take a moment here to touch on LSU basketball and talk about what this team has done. And very, very clearly, this has been a poor non-conference schedule relative to the rest of the SEC. Drake is not good. DePaul is not very good. Boston College is bad. Texas Tech is good, and they wiped you out. And then SMU is a good team, and LSU played great on Saturday and beat them. But the rest of the non-conference schedule has been putrid. Southland teams, SWAC teams coming in here. LSU smashing them by 30 points. And that'll continue on Friday when they play Southeastern, and they'll win that game comfortably against a team that's not very good. And you're not going to learn much from that. And I want to be upfront, out in the open when I get into some of this. I know that LSU's played a bad non-conference schedule. You want to stack up what LSU's done against the teams that Arkansas has played, against the teams that Florida has played, against the teams that Auburn has played. Like, it doesn't stack up. But we have what we have here, okay? So I'm understanding the competition level, but also putting some numbers to some of the things that this team has done that I think could be trends moving forward. I changed my threshold for statistically speaking Peaches on LouisianaSports.net. In football, I do top 25 for good and bottom 50 for bad. But you're talking about 136, 137 teams there. In basketball, you've got 365 teams. So I changed my good to top 50 and bad to bottom 100 because you're talking about so many more teams. So for offensive efficiency, LSU is 15th in the country. And I do think this team offensively is going to be pretty good. I would expect LSU to be a top half of the SEC in terms of offensive efficiency in conference play. I think from what I've seen from the league on television and what I know about LSU, with Thomas running the point, with McKinnon's occasional flamethrowers, with Sutton's versatility on the wing and on the block, and then what Nwoku has developed into as an offensive piece, plus some other guys that can have their moments. Pablo Tamba had a double-digit scoring game against SMU, which is a really nice effort. We've seen P.J. Carter knock down some threes when he gets hot. So I think there are some pieces offensively. I expect LSU to be good. They're not going to be the 15th team in the country in offensive efficiency, but would it surprise me if they were top 50? Not at all. I think LSU could very well be a top 50 offensive efficiency team, and I think that's the DNA of what this team is at its best, is a very, very skilled offensive team. Deion Thomas is not going to fly through the air and Russell Westbrook windmill dunk one. Max McKinnon is not an electrifying above-the-rim player at the wing. He's not always going to get his own shot and hit a bunch of step-back buckets over. That's not his game either. But those guys know what they are, and they're good at getting where they need to get. They're veteran players. McKinnon and Deion Thomas have 3 years in their rearview mirror. They know what they're doing. And I think that you'll see those guys put up points in the SEC. LSU's 23rd in the country in points per game. That's inflated because of the teams that they played. They started the season scoring over 90 in the first 6 games for the first time since Shaq was here. That's inflated a little bit by the schedule, but still, it's encouraging that you're 23rd in the country in points per game. Now, here is something I really like. LSU is number 40 in the country in the percentage of their points that they get from 2-point baskets. And they're 341st in the percentage of their points they get from 3. Meaning they rely heavily on 2-pointers, getting to the rim, creating good, high percentage, high efficiency looks. I like that a lot. I think that's awesome. And what I really like is that LSU's 276 in the country, so way down the list, in terms of 3-point attempts per game. They do not shoot a lot of threes. And I like that because I don't think you're a great 3-point shooting team. Deion Thomas has been a mediocre 3-point shooter in his career. He can make some, but he's not a dead-eye shooter. McKinnon has been white hot. Okay, shoot me 7 or 8 of them. He makes 6 or 7. Or ice cold like he was against Texas Tech. But he only shot 5 in that game against Texas Tech. And then you don't have a lot of other options. Markel Sutton has cooled off. Like, he hasn't shot as many recently. P.J. Carter doesn't play a lot of minutes, and Nwoku's not going to shoot threes. Jalen Reed is now out. He was going to provide some punch from the 3-point line as a big, but Robert Miller's not going to, so you don't have to rely on that. You got to make some. McKinnon will stretch the defense some. You need to put P.J. Carter out there, you can some, but they're not relying on that, which I love. And from 2, they're shooting 61% this year. That is 14th in the country. Top 15 in the country in 2-point percentage. And then this is a huge statistic that I'm curious if LSU can keep up. This is going to be big for LSU. They are number 41 in the country in free throw attempts per game. They shoot 25 free throws per game. Now, a lot of that could be predicated on the fact that they're playing bad teams that can't stay in front of them and they can't guard them, and so they get to the line more easily. But if they can get to the foul line, they do have good free throw shooters. Thomas is really good. McKinnon is excellent. Robert Miller has been a very good free throw shooter. Markel Sutton's a decent free throw shooter. You've got some guys that can make free throws. If you can get to the line, that's an efficient way to score. I like that. So as far as LSU's offense goes, they're scoring a lot of points, They're leaning on two-pointers and free throws a ton. They're not a great three-point shooting team, so they don't rely on it a lot. I like their shot selection, and I think a lot of that has to do with, for the first time in the Matt McMahon era, you've got a point guard who can get the shots that LSU needs to get. That's just vital. Like last year, pretty much, Cam Carter, go get a shot. 3 years ago, McMahon's first year, KJ Williams, go get a shot. That's pretty much all. You did not have a point guard. You did not have someone who could facilitate good looks, high percentage looks. Thomas is doing that, and because of that, LSU is scoring a lot of points. And in the one game he did not, you got crushed. And I think that's what this is going to come down to for LSU. When Thomas doesn't run the show, and at the same time McKinnon's not making shots, you're going to bog down. But Thomas does run the show more often than not, and I kind of like that. Now, defense I'm concerned about with this LSU team. It has not reared its ugly head yet. Texas Tech went nuts shooting the ball, and LSU's defense has been pretty good in every other game. They're top 50 in opposing shooting percentage. I believe that to be a product of a bad schedule, and there's nothing else on their defensive metrics that is in the top 50. A lot of stuff around 70 and 80. Opponent points per game, 87th. Defensive efficiency is 61st in the country. This is something that if LSU falls flat in conference play, if LSU goes 4-14 or something like that and doesn't compete at all in late February, it will be because their defense collapses. Your point guard's not a dynamic defender. Your two guard, I think, is going to struggle to defend twos. And we'll see what you've got on the wing in Tamba and Carter and Sutton and those guys to play defense. You may miss Jalen Reed's physicality around the rim. You've got Nwoku to help with that. But if there's a downfall to this LSU team in SEC play, I do not think it's going to be that the offense was a paper tiger against bad teams and they're actually not that good. I think it will be that the defense, which has been okay statistically, doesn't play very well in league play. Now, they were good against a high-flying SMU team on Saturday, so that encouraged me. I liked what I saw from that perspective. You had two really good guards in that game. You made them take a lot of shots to get the 16 each that they got, 32 points total. And you saw SMU cool in the second half, and they just topped 30 points while LSU outpaced them significantly and scored over 40 for the second straight half and won that game by double digits. Defense is where my concern is. And I wrote that at LouisianaSports.net. I laid that out. If you're looking for some numbers here, it's just something that I put on the site every couple of weeks, every week during football season, every couple of weeks during basketball season, to just put numbers to things and not have a lot of text. You can just scroll through and I color code it. The stuff that's really good, I put in green. The stuff that's really bad, I put in red. The stuff that's not colored is just kind of middle of the pack. And it's kind of a digestible way to look at how the team is performing without pouring through a wall of text. You're just looking at numbers, which certainly plays a lot better in print than it does sitting here on radio. But I think I've laid this out reasonably. LSU's kind of put the hay in the barn from a non-conference perspective. If they can't win their last three non-conference, you got problems. Southeastern's not very good. Southern Miss, not very good. I think LSU will be just fine. Prairie View, certainly not any good. So this is kind of what LSU is entering league play. It's a dynamic offensive team in terms of their skill, their ability to put the ball in the bucket, and where they're getting their shots from, which is the 2 points in the free throw line. It's a defense that I've got my questions about, and we'll just have to see what that brings when the league play cranks up, and we've seen them play 3 or 4 league games. What does that look like? If they're giving up 80-plus a night, trouble. If that's closer to 70, I think LSU's got a real chance to win as many conference games as they lose, and that's what you're looking for if you get to the league play 12-1 if you're trying to make the NCAA tournament. So just to look at hoops here on this Thursday. Take a timeout. We'll come back. I want to compare the Saints rebuild to a couple of others that are either completed or very close to being completed across the National Football League and see kind of what the comparisons and contrasts are between them. We'll do that when we come back.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Lifetime Roofing. You can find them online at lifetimeroofingla.com. Had a great meeting with their crew over there on Monday morning. They've got a claims department over there that is there to help you work with an insurance company. A lot of folks are intimidated by the process. They don't know what their homeowner's policy may say, and they don't know what qualifies for a roof replacement or roof repair. Well, if you want to take that fight out of your hands, you can put it with the claims department over at Lifetime Roofing. And I want to tell you, these guys, they're not new to the community. They're lifers in this community. And they care about the community. They were telling me a story about the tornado that blew through Kentwood a couple months ago, and they were up there with chainsaws, and they got a food truck to come up there, and they were there helping out because it's a time of crisis. They understand that, generally speaking, when roof damage happens, something significant has gone on, and they're a part of that because they're a part of this community. We've been fortunate the last couple of years. There hasn't been a storm. That doesn't mean that it's not time to have your roof looked at and potentially get a new one. If you just want one retail, they can do that. They have financing options, 0% for 18 months over at Lifetime Roofing. Go find them at lifetimeroofingla.com. Been here since 2021. Opened up brick and mortar right down the street here in 2023, and they are happy to help you anywhere in South Louisiana, from over in Slidell to New Orleans, here in Baton Rouge, the listening area, over to Lake Charles and Lafayette as well. It's Lifetime Roofing. You can find them online at lifetimeroofingla.com.
South Louisiana, it's turnaround season, and River Parish Contractors is calling in the best of the best. We're hiring pipe fitters, iron workers, boiler makers, combo and structural welders, rig welders, carpenters, crane operators, dirt operators, and more. If you're ready to work, ready to earn, and ready to build something that lasts, call Big Jake at 318-547-1000 or go to rpcontractors.com. River Parish Contractors. Let's get building.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
My father, J.B. Falgu, had a vision of growth for First American Bank and the communities we serve. The bank's foundation was built on his legacy of compassion, loyalty, and dedication. Through his years of leadership, First American has prospered to heights even J.B. could not have imagined. I know my father would be extremely proud of the customer service and financial stability that First American provides to Southeast Louisiana. We continue to thrive because of the legacy of J.B. Falgu.
After a decade of working in private duty nursing, I know how hard it can be to find compassionate care for the ones that you love the most. So I started Decision Critical, a premier concierge nursing agency, so we can take care of you wherever you are. Our highly skilled nurses provide exceptional care from the comfort of your own home with personalized packages for short-term, long-term, or even around-the-clock care. Visit us at decisioncriticalbr.com and give us a call today to get started.
Looking for cleaner energy? Propane is energy for everyone. Propane water heaters are very cost efficient, and the savings are even greater with a tankless propane water heater. We all know that Louisiana propane is a safe and environmentally friendly fuel. So why not go green while you save some green? I'm Miss Louisiana, Gabrielle McLeod, and for more information, visit louisianapropane.com.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared toward seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
These ice cubes could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead...
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Sagrera Farms.
Working towards the weekend, Thursday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Sagrera Farms Premium Angus Beef. We'll have Luke Johnson in about an hour talking Saints. We'll have Chris Blair in about 40 minutes talking LSU. Right now I want to talk about the Saints. You know, when you're knee-deep in your team, I think sometimes you don't pay as much attention to those outside, their situation, how things came to be. And right now, Saints fans are in the thick of it. Like, it's been a bad couple years. It's really, if you want to go back to the end of the Breeze era, it's been really bumpy. You've had a coaching change. You've had a couple of quarterback changes. And just the last 2 weeks have brought a little bit of hope. And you feel like there potentially could be an opportunity to break out of this funk and start that rebuild and start the upward trajectory. And you're hopeful that that kind of started 2 weeks ago. But I wanted to step out of the Saints cap situation, step out of the Saints draft situation, step out of the Saints QB development, the Saints head coach, all those things, and just kind of look at some teams that have been in a rough spot and have come out of it, and specifically this year are having good seasons. In one case here with Detroit that I'm going to get to, they're not quite what they wanted to be this year, but they still could have a great season. But there are 3 teams I want to look at that have gone through coaching changes, quarterback changes, and have gone from a really bad spot in their organization to a really, really good spot, and kind of see what that transition looked like relative to the Saints. Now, again, to preface this, every cap situation is different. Every draft situation is different. Every quarterback situation and coach situation is different. Every division is different. So I'm not trying to say there's one roadmap to make it, or that the Saints need to do it this way or that way. Just like, well, how did other teams do it? And can the Saints make that happen? Or are they on a path similar to what some of these teams did? So let's start with Detroit. This is the longest one, but they've been established at the top of the sport now for 2.5 years. But you remember when Dan Campbell took over, right? You remember the press conference, the biting kneecaps. Jake brings this up all the time on the morning show. I certainly came on these airwaves and said, that's not going to work, because that's the most ridiculous press conference I've ever heard. What are we're talking about biting kneecaps and then getting on and biting another kneecap, and you don't have any legs, so you're bleeding and you take another bite, and the whole, like, it was a ridiculous press conference. I would stand by that. Now, having a ridiculous press conference doesn't mean you're a terrible coach. It was a ridiculous press conference, and I called it as such at the time. But what's he done there? Well, he's installed a culture and made hires that have sustained really good play, but it didn't start out very good. You're talking about a team that was 3-14 his first season, 3-14, and they won 3 of their last 6. Sound familiar? Saints team that was awful to start and maybe plays better and wins some games late. Well, what did the Browns do after that 2021 season where they were 3-14? Yes, terrible, but won 3 of last 6. Well, the next year they went 9-8. That was a 1-6 start, but they went 9-8, and they won 8 of their last 10. Won 8 of their last 10. And then went 12-5 and made it to the conference championship game, and then went 15-2 and were the 1 seed. So 3-14, but won some games at the end. 9-8, 12-5, 15-2. That sounds where the Saints are right now in that 3-14. Now, you got a long way to go and a lot to do to get to the 9-8, 12-5, 15-2, but that's where things are, and that 3-14 kind of feels like where the Saints are right now. But it could be better than that. You could be a 5-win team. So, yeah, they had Jared Goff, who had been to the Super Bowl previously, and every cap situation is different, and they drafted incredibly well. You look at some of the draft picks that they had was fantastic, and they obviously hired exceptionally well. You see what Ben Johnson is doing now in Chicago, and he was on that staff, and they felt really good about what Aaron Glenn brought them. And yes, it's not apples to apples, but you see that trajectory. It's not crazy to put that on the Saints. Let's look at Denver. I know their coach. I know who he is. Know how good he is. I got it. But you look at what they did. They were, in 2022, 5-12. And then you go 8-9 with Sean Payton at the helm. And then in 2024, you started 3-3, but went 7-4 down the stretch, as we all would agree that Bo Nix kind of found it, right? And they went 7-4 down the stretch for a 10-7 season, and they said, okay, this is the quarterback. We can figure this out. And this year, they've won 11 straight. They're 12-2. But it was a late surge led by a quarterback who finally got his feet on the ground with a good offensive coach, a great defense, got it. Not the same as the Saints in terms of their age, The Saints defense is playing pretty well right now, and maybe you've got a really good coordinator there. But you see that trajectory, 5-12, 8-9, 10-7, found our quarterback, won 7 of our last 11, and then 12-2 this year. It's not unreasonable to make that parallel with the Saints. Let's talk about the Texans over in Houston. In 2022, that was a 3-13-1 team. Davis Mills at quarterback, just awful. But in 2023, they found their quarterback in C.J. Stroud, right? And they started him, and they went 10-7, but they won 4 of their last 6 down the stretch. Stroud played really well, and okay, this is the guy we got. And then, of course, y'all know the draft picks, Stingley, like y'all know the whole deal, Nico Collins. Like they drafted incredibly well. And then they went 10-7 in 2024. They lost in the divisional round at Kansas City in the freezing cold. And this year, you turn around, and they got C.J. Stroud on that deal, and they've won 6 in a row. They're 9-5. They're right there competing for their division. And not so long ago, 3-13-1. But you hit on that quarterback. You found that coach that's doing a good job with your defense. Their defense is very good, and they've done a good job of filling in the holes on that team beyond the really good draft picks with Will Anderson and all that. And here they are. Y'all know that rebuilds happen all the time. Y'all know who the good teams in the NFL are. Y'all know who the good coaches are. But I think sometimes stepping out of your black and gold bubble and looking at some of the other teams that have been at the bottom but found an answer and are now surging toward the top, or in the Lions' case from last year, were at the top. And there are plenty of cases where, like, hey, we found something at the end of a season, instilled a little bit of a culture. Maybe it's a quarterback change. Maybe it's just figuring things out. And then, boom, the next year, it just kind of pops. And, like, I'm not going to sit here in mid-December and tell you that I think next year the Saints are going to be really, really good. I'm not going to rule it out, but I think it's unlikely, right? Your cap situation's still not great to go into free agency and address some of the needs you really need. But maybe your quarterback is a difference maker. Maybe your defensive coordinator has really got this thing figured out. Because what you've seen in the last 3 weeks is a quarterback that's playing really well and a defense that's playing really well. And if you have those two things, well, that's what Denver's got. And if you've got a young quarterback on his rookie deal and you can hit on some draft picks and you can get a new coach to instill a new culture and some stability, that's what Houston's got. And it seems like a long time ago that the Lions were 3-14, but they did win 3 of their last 6 there. And that's kind of what the Saints are doing right now. That's Detroit. There are parallels between these franchises and what the Saints can do. It takes a lot going right. You cannot whiff on the 2026 draft. You can't. You have to hit. And these guys that are starting to step up in this 2025 season, Quincy Riley, Jonas Sanker, certainly Shuck, Neal if he's healthy, Devon Vele if he can play again. Maybe some of these guys are pillars. And as Cam Jordan rolls off the books, and as eventually Alvin Kamara rolls off the books, and maybe DeMario Davis plays at 65, I don't know. Seems like it at this point. But as some of those contracts start to roll off, certainly Tyron, Derek Carr's dead money, big deal. You got to do that right too. So it's not just a guarantee that when you bottom out and you get early draft picks and you change coaches and get a new quarterback, like you don't immediately just fly up the ranks. Ask folks in Cleveland about that. It doesn't just happen automatically. But there's a path. Just got to hope the Saints can follow that path and get where they are to relevance. Jordan, have I inspired you with that segment? Have you thought, man, we are going to be awesome in 2 years?
I thought it was so convincing. Well, no, I'm not going to say inspired. It's just like you have to see, like the players got to play, regardless of the fact the players got to play. And again, yeah, Mickey Loomis, this draft class is looking pretty good, but we have to build consistency on the draft class. What you just said about all these other teams was that they hit in the draft. The guys they were selecting were hits. Houston, you just said, we can name a list of all these all-pros that Houston has drafted the last couple of years. If the Saints are not doing that, you can kiss it goodbye.
In Detroit, you got Aiden Hutchinson. Yeah. They did a great job getting Jahmyr Gibbs.
Brian Branch.
Yeah, I mean, it's good. It's very, very good. The Saints have got to do some of that, and it's got to start in this draft. But I think there are links to those teams and some of the things the Saints are doing. And I'm telling you, there's going to be some life in that city if they can finish these last 3 games. That's a tall ask for a team that has shown no consistency for 3 years outside of the first 2 weeks of last year. But, man, if you can find a way to beat 2 bad teams and then go to Atlanta and win in Atlanta, there's going to be some people feeling like they've figured something out.
I'm one of those people. I will be one of those people. I would be like, hey, man, I ain't going to lie. Shuck all pro. All pro. I've
like
seen enough.
That's what we need. All right. That's it for some Saints talk here. We'll get to Luke Johnson with some more Saints in 45 minutes. We'll come back, close out the hour with a Tiger you haven't thought about in a while, and you have no idea what he's doing, but he's doing it really well. We'll talk about that next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Swing Easy Golf Club in Baton Rouge. Swing Easy, GCBR.com. Here's the deal. You got family coming in next week, right? Don't know what to do in Baton Rouge. Want to get them out of the house. Well, maybe you can get a tee time. If you got 7 folks that play golf and you can get 2 and find a spot, maybe 7 in the morning, maybe at 1 in the afternoon. Or you can call Swing Easy Golf Club and everybody can go there. You can get the fridge out, get the beer out, wine, seltzers, play Pebble Beach. Hang out on the couch, watch TV. It's an incredible place to just hang out and involve golf while you're hanging out and catching up, not in your living room. Go to Swing Easy, Segan at Perkins, and just incorporate some golf. And you can turn the driving range setting on, but I like playing on the simulator. I love playing Pebble Beach. I love playing that course they play that famous April tournament in. They don't want me to say that, but it's on the simulator. You can play it. You can play TPC Sawgrass. You can play TPC Louisiana. It's on the simulator. Old course as well at St. Andrews. It's a great way to hang out. It doesn't take 5.5 hours to play golf, but if you want it to take 5.5 hours, it can. Just stop on by Swing Easy Golf Club, Segan at Perkins, Swing Easy, GCBR.com.
This menu is a masterpiece, delivers every time.
This is the worst party ever. Raisin Cane's!
Let's go!
The party is
Peter, Mr. Billingsley.
Celebrate the holidays with Raisin Cane's Chicken Fingers. One love.
I'm Lawyer Locke Meredith. If you're battling an insurance company because of a wreck not your fault and they're not calling you back or being fair, whether you hire us at all, give us a call, 272-5555, or email Locke Meredith, Sean Fagan and Associates. You have nothing to lose.
Hello, I'm Collins Meredith. If you've been injured on the job, you likely have a workers' compensation claim, but you may also have a tort claim which opens up significant recovery rights not normally available for a work injury. If this is you, call us or come see us at Locke Meredith, Sean Fagan and Associates.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Most roofers just replace your shingles. At Pelican, we diagnose your roof, digging deep down to find the root cause of your roof symptoms. Now cough for me. Good. We don't ignore your roof's issues, we address them. Let's just take care of this right here. Helping your roof to become the best version of itself. Interesting that you would say that. How does that make you feel? So call Pelican Roofing for your free roof checkup today.
South Louisiana, it's turnaround season, and River Parish Contractors is calling in the best of the best. We're hiring pipe fitters, iron workers, boiler makers, combo and structural welders, rig welders, carpenters, crane operators, dirt operators, and more. If you're ready to work, ready to earn, and ready to build something that lasts, call Big Jake at 318-547-1000 or go to rpcontractors.com. River Parish Contractors. Let's get building.
Hi, this is Beth Serena. Welcome to my pool. The first time I saw this beautiful pool, it exceeded every expectation that I had. They were able to get everything we wanted in this pool. It is a beautiful pool. We live out here, we eat out here, we watch TV out here. This is like our living room outside. We love this pool and everything about it. When we decided to build our pool, we called a great friend who is one of the best pool builders in the country in North Louisiana, and we said, who would you choose to build a pool in Baton Rouge? And without a hesitation, he told us Russell Pools. He said their history, tradition of great builds, great pools was unmatched. So of course, who did we call? Russell Pools. The advice I would give to anyone looking to build a pool is first call Russell Pools. They'll do
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Sagrera Farms.
Thursday show is brought to you by Sagrera Farms Premium Angus Beef. You're just tired of asking questions about the beef that you buy week in, week out, where it was raised, how many DNA are in that package of ground beef that you have, were there steroids used, any improper antibiotics, why does it cost so much? If you're tired of asking questions, go get the answers at Sagrera Farms. It's just north of here in Ethel. Sean Sagrera running a family operation there, but he's got it mastered. And he can tell you that there's one DNA in that cow that you bring home. And he can tell you that there were never any steroids used, never improper antibiotics. And that this is prime Angus beef. It's not choice or select, it's prime. And in some cases, it's double the standard of prime. So if you're looking for the best and you're looking to take the questions out of the beef buying that you've been doing, Sagrera Farms, Premium Angus Beef, they bring you our Thursday shows each and every week. You know, a name popped up on my Twitter feed today that I have not thought of in a little bit, and I thought, I had no idea. So I thought I'd pass it along to you because I feel like you may have no idea. Javonte Smart was nominated today by USA Basketball as a finalist for the 5-on-5 Male Athlete of the Year. Now, this is not the Olympic team. This is not the Dream Team, the Redeem Team. This is just USA Basketball competing in 5-on-5 competitions like the AmeriCup. And Javonte Smart was nominated for the highest honor in USA Basketball this year. He's one of 4 finalists. And I read briefly off the blurb here. And Javonte, his best year donning the Team USA letters across his chest. He was on the AmeriCup team in Nicaragua in August. He scored 15.7 points per game, had 3.2 assist points per game. Both led the team. He had 21 points game high in the bronze medal game that they won over Canada. He also went 2-0 in the AmeriCup qualifying in the FIBA World Cup qualifying back in February. He just was apparently really, really good in these 5-on-5s, and it's great to see that he's still able to play some professional basketball and to represent his country doing so 5 years after he left LSU. My memory of Javonte is twofold. One, and the biggest one for me, was I remember walking into the PMAC for a Saturday morning game, LSU in Tennessee. It was the year that LSU won the league outright, Will Wade's second year. And I remember walking into the PMAC. I was with my mom and dad, and we got word via Twitter that Tremont Waters was not going to play. It was an 11 o'clock tip-off. I think I walked in at 10:15. Boom, got the notification. Tremont will not play. And it's like, well, that's LSU's best player, sophomore point guard, all-league point guard, heart and soul of the offensive team. You're playing a great Rick Barnes team that has Admiral Schofield and Grant Williams. I mean, that was a really tough Tennessee team to deal with. And not having your primary ball handler, like that was going to be a disaster. And Javonte took that game over as a true freshman in the second half. They could not guard him. And LSU went into overtime and ended up winning that game against Tennessee. That's my number one memory of Javonte Smart. And then two, is just how good offensively his last team was. And unfortunately, it was the COVID year, so not a lot of people got to see them in person. But between Javonte, who's at 26 playing for Team USA in these 5-on-5 deals, and then Cam Thomas and Trendon Watford, who are NBA guys, to have those guys on the floor with Darius Days, like that's just a dynamic offensive team that Will Wade put together. And we know that once those guys moved on, and you had that Xavier Pinson team with Eric Gaines. It was just a much better defensive team that struggled offensively. But the offense on that Javonte Smart, Cam Thomas, Trendon Watford team was so good and so much fun to watch. And I haven't followed Javonte's professional career since he left LSU. I know he had some tryouts with the NBA, and I think he actually made it up for a cup of coffee in the NBA.
Yeah, he was on the Miami Heat.
Yeah, went to the Heat for a little bit. But you knew that his game wasn't necessarily suited for the NBA. He shot a set shot. Not overly tall, just a really skilled player at Scotlandville and certainly at LSU. And, you know, what happened in his recruitment, and here we are down the road with a different basketball coach. But I have fond memories of Javonte playing at LSU. He was a really, really fun player to watch at LSU. Made the NCAA tournament 3 different times, or I guess 2 times, didn't make it in 2020 because there wasn't one. But just a really, really good player. And it was cool to see that Team USA has nominated him as a finalist for an award. So if you want to vote for him for that award, Male Athlete of the Year for Team USA, you can go to my Twitter feed. I retweeted it from Team USA Basketball. You can go ahead and cast a vote, and hopefully we can get Javonte to the finish line there as the Athlete of the Year. He's up against Nasir Anderson and Michael Brown as the other two finalists. So very cool for Javonte. That caught me off guard. I didn't see it, didn't know about it, and wanted to pass that along to you all there as it saw it on my timeline. Quick moving first hour here on this Thursday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. As I mentioned, we're brought to you by Sagrera Farms Premium Angus Beef. Open the show talking about Michael Van Buren by the numbers and what he's done with his opportunity. We know what we've seen, and it hasn't been good offensively for LSU. I don't think all of that is his fault at all, but I just gave some context to what he's done for 3 games. When did LSU's basketball team by the numbers statistically? Where do they rank nationally, and what I like about their non-conference performance, what I don't like as much. And then I compared the Saints to the Lions, the Texans, and Denver as far as their rebuild goes. You can find all of that on demand wherever you find your sound. We'll pause for national headlines at SportsCenter. Chris Blair in 15 minutes talking Tigers. Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Highland Insurance Group. No, sorry, Chevy. It's Chevy. Highland Insurance Group is going to be in the next hour. I always love telling you about Fabry Chevy GMC. It's at Highway 61 in St. Francisville. Now under new ownership. You know the Fabry family. They've been in business here in 35 years in Baton Rouge. Got an incredible reputation for a good reason, because you know that when you visit a Fabry Automotive Group property that you're going to get incredible customer service. And not only do you get that incredible customer service, you've got an awesome selection on their lot of new and pre-owned vehicles. December is a busy, busy month. Still time to get in there and see them. Highway 61 in St. Francisville. They got your Chevy Tahoes, your Chevy Silverados. They've got Sierras, Yukons, Denali's on the GMC front. And they also service all models, all makes. So no matter what you're driving, if you're in St. Francisville, around St. Francisville, want to stop in before you get on that family road trip for Christmas, do so at Fabry Chevrolet GMC in St. Francisville. Online at fabrychevrolet.com.
After a decade of working in private duty nursing, I know how hard it can be to find compassionate care for the ones that you love the most. So I started Decision Critical, a premier concierge nursing agency, so we can take care of you wherever you are. Our highly skilled nurses provide exceptional care from the comfort of your own home with personalized packages for short-term, long-term, or even around-the-clock care. Visit us at decisioncriticalbr.com and give us a call today to get started.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Sometimes you ignore the signs, even when they're right in front of you. Problem gambling isn't always easy to spot. Know the signs. Set your limit. Learn more about healthy gambling habits by visiting us online or text or call for free confidential help now.
Hi, I'm Mitchell Meredith with Locke Meredith Sean Fagan & Associates. We take great pride in educating our clients about their rights. Whether you're injured at work or while you drive, call our office at 272-5555. Knowledge is power, and you should know your rights after an injury.
Hi, I'm Sean Fagan of Locke Meredith Sean Fagan & Associates. When insurance companies have been unfair, we've never been afraid to go to trial. Fighting hard to protect your rights, we never settle a case out of convenience. We only settle when it's right for you. Whether you hire us at all, give us a call.
BRAC teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. BRAC, your #1 park system in the nation.
Raising Cane's is our victory meal.
Football fans are some of the most dedicated fans in sports. It's a fundamental quality we share, and that fuels every single order of our hand-battered chicken fingers. Wherever there's football, there's Raising Cane's.
One love. Let's go.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. NFL Week 16 kicks off with a massive game tonight. Rams-Seahawks. Not only is sole possession of first in the NFC West on the line, but the winner also is in the driver's seat for the top spot in the NFC. LA star receiver Devontae Adams doubtful with knee and hamstring injuries. How do things change for the Rams if he's out? Pro Football Hall of Famer Warren Moon.
They probably will lose a lot down in the red zone because that's where they use him a lot because he gets one-on-one and he's one of the best, off the football as far as his releases. So he's scored a lot of touchdowns. But I think Puka's going to probably take over that role. You love to have him at your disposal, but I think not having him won't hurt him as much as people think because of how much they're playing the 3 tight end set.
Warren Moon on Amber and Ian. Colts opened the practice window for quarterback Anthony Richardson, and he returned to practice 2 months after suffering a fractured orbital bone in a pregame incident. He won't play on Monday Night Football. Phillip Rivers remains Indy's starter. Tigers ace, 2-time defending American League Cy Young Award winner Tarek Skubal added to the Team USA roster for March's World Baseball Classic.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ, Chris Candy. Coming up Friday, I'll tell you why the Bears need to beat the Packers if they want to avoid missing out on the playoffs entirely. It's Unsportsmanlike, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Now, the Hunt Palmer Show.
A magic beyond anything you could ever imagine.
You are now listening to the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Sagrera Farms on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Locking down the middle of the day.
You really think that's the best idea?
Live from the Raising Cane studio, this is Hunt Palmer.
It's quite a piece of work.
Hour 2, Thursday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. Chris Blair in 15 minutes. Luke Johnson here in half an hour. I always chuckle a little bit. I don't know why, but I do chuckle when I hear Chris Canty do their tease for the next day and says, resident Super Bowl champ Chris Canty here. And I'm curious, should we have the morning show guys? It's your resident national champions here.
I mean, they could. I will say, if I won a Super Bowl, you're going to know I won a Super Bowl.
Should I hit him with it's your resident intramural basketball champ, Hunt Palmer here.
Hey,
Should I hit him with that? Your resident District 1-2A 2004 baseball champ, Hunt Palmer here.
You can do it. You can do it. No, but look, if you got to do it, you got to commit to it. You can't just stop doing it.
I don't think I'm going to go with intramural champs, considering that we were playing 5-on-5 basketball and we had 6 players on our team and I was the 6th man. I don't think I'm going to go ahead and put that on the nameplate.
Hey, that's crucial though. We need that guy to come off the bench and need a breather.
So we played. Have you heard this story about our intramurals? It's a great story.
Oh.
So we had a 6-man basketball team and we went undefeated in the fraternity league, which whatever.
Yeah.
So we played the Open League champion in intramurals.
Okay.
In the Open League championship, we went and watched the game and quickly realized, this team is Chris Hawkins, Harry Coleman, Brandon LaFell, Ricky Jean Francois. It's the 07-08 National Championship football team.
I'm about to say that. You're playing
that was on this team, and they won, and so we played them in the championship game. And we had 6 guys on our team, and I was a 6th man, and for 90 seconds, Jared Weaver, one of our players, lost a contact. So I had to go in for 90 seconds, and then he came back in. So I played 90 seconds in the game. Yeah. I had a steal and a missed layup. I stole the ball from Chris Hawkins. We were in a zone. And I stole the ball from him and went the other way and missed a layup. And then I sat down. But we crushed them. Our team destroyed them.
No,
Destroyed
y'all won
them
that game?
by 20.
No way.
Yes.
Against the football team.
I played 90 seconds, but our team was really good.
A win is a win, bro. It don't matter how you got there.
That's what we're doing for the promos moving forward. Resident intramural basketball champ, Hunt Palmer checking in.
Yeah, and I don't even. I'm about to say resident bench warmer Jordy Kitchens here to report. I don't.
Oh man, your Little League champ back in 1994, Hunt Palmer checking in here.
Oh, so you can't do that. Don't do that. They could be like, get off the airwaves, Hunk.
All right, let's talk about the college football playoff. I sat down at my desk today, and I'm going to preview the games tomorrow because they start tomorrow with Bama and Oklahoma, and then you've got the morning with Miami and A&M, and then you've got the afternoon with Tulane at Ole Miss, and then you've got the night game with Oregon hosting James Madison. But before we break down those games, which we'll do tomorrow, I was curious how many teams I think can win the national championship in a 12-team playoff. Win it. Not win a game or win the national championship. Because we think of college football as this exclusive club at the top, where if you're not, in the last 25 years, if you're not LSU, Alabama, Georgia, Clemson, Ohio State, Michigan, USC, Auburn, Florida, you hadn't really won. There's 9 programs that have won the last 25 championships. And you go back into the days of Miami and Nebraska, but there's never just some breakthrough like there is in college baseball, in college football. It's an exclusive club. So the question is, in this era of the portal and NIL, in this era of revenue sharing and where Indiana's been in the playoff 2 years in a row and Vanderbilt's 10-2 and things seem to be on their heads, is there a bigger range of teams that can actually win the national championship? So I went through the exercise and I tried to be fair and I tried to be literal in this, that I think can win the national championship. Not if 4 other quarterbacks get hurt or, one team has to sit out with COVID, which actually happened in the College World Series, NC State. Who can really win this thing, right? And so you start at the top with the 1 seed. Indiana, they can win it. They beat Ohio State on a neutral site. They beat Oregon on the road. They've been in the playoffs 2 years. Their quarterback's going to be the first pick in the draft. They can win it. They're the 1 seed, sure. The 2 seed's Ohio State. They can win it. They've got a great coach. They've got the best 2 receivers going. They've got incredible talent, pedigree, defending national champs. Absolutely. Those 2 are easy. Georgia can win it. Georgia's defense has played lights out recently. The offense has been bumpy. It was bumpy against Georgia Tech. Wasn't great. But they've got talented players there. They've got the pedigree too. Their defense is awesome. I don't think we have to have a big debate about Georgia. So 1, 2, and 3, Indiana, OSU, Georgia in. The 4 seed is Texas Tech. Now, I'm not going to profess to be an expert in Texas Tech football. Their defense is good, and it is expensive, and it does have pros on it. Their offense is okay, and I think the strength of schedule is very poor. I want to say Texas Tech can win the national championship. But to do that, they're going to have to beat Oregon, Indiana, and Ohio State or Georgia probably. I don't think Texas Tech can do it. I've got them in the no category, even though they've got a bye. So now you go into the teams that play this weekend, and you start with Oregon as the 5th seed. I think Oregon can win the national championship. I think Dante Moore's good, not great. I think Dan Lanning is great. I think that they've been in playoff games before. I think they've got NFL players. DeCorian Moore is coming back from injury. That's a big help to them on the outside. I think they can do it. Now, they're going to have to beat Texas Tech, Indiana, who they've played already, and then go beat Ohio State or Georgia probably. But I think Oregon can do it because I think that Saturday is a bye. Then you go to the 6th seed, and you go to Ole Miss. Ole Miss went to Athens and had control of that game. Now, Lane Kiffin was there for that. How much you want to take away from them, we'll see. They're going to have to beat Tulane, which they'll do at home. They got to beat Georgia. Then they got to beat Ohio State. Then they got to go beat Indiana or Oregon or Texas Tech or Oklahoma or whatever. I don't think Ole Miss can do it. I think they're good. I think they've got a really good offense. I think their quarterback makes plays. I think they can beat any team in the bracket. I don't think they can beat every team in the bracket. If you get what I'm saying. In a 4-quarter setting, I'll take Ole Miss to go play with somebody, and they could beat them 1 out of 5. Can they win that many games in a row? I would say no. Then you got the 7 seed A&M. And we'll figure out some of the answers to the questions on Saturday against Miami, where they're a 3.5-point favorite, and then certainly if they go to the Cotton Bowl and play Ohio State. If what we saw against mediocre teams, them dominate and play really well on both sides of the ball, is real, or if they just played the softest schedule the SEC could possibly cough up, and that's how they got here. I think there's reason to believe that Texas A&M is good across the board and has played some bad halves. And they played an embarrassing half against South Carolina and a bad second half against Texas. But I am going to put A&M in the can-do-it category. And trust me, I don't think they're going to. I don't think they're going to beat Miami, Ohio State, Georgia, and Indiana or Oregon. I don't think they're going to do it. I'm going to put them in the can category. And then we can move a little bit more quickly moving forward. I don't think Alabama and Oklahoma can do it. I think Bama is soft. I think Bama can't run the ball. I don't think Bama stops the run great. And I don't think they can do it. Their side of the bracket looks softer. Oklahoma's tough on offense, like they're not very good on offense. Indiana, we just have a preconceived notion of Indiana from 100 years of football, but they'd have to beat Indiana, then Texas Tech or Oregon, and then the Georgia, Ohio State, Texas A&M side. I just don't think that Bama and OU can get through that. So I'm out on those two. That brings us to the 10 seed, which is Miami. I don't think they're good enough to do it either. I think they can win on Saturday. I don't think they will, but I think they can. And I don't think they can get beyond that because I think Carson Beck turns the ball over too much. And those two losses against bad teams it's just an evidence of how poorly they can play. And if you play even close to that poorly against these good teams, you will get cooked. And they got to play a good team every step of the way. They don't get a single doable game. Like, it's at A&M, which is going to be brutal. It's against Ohio State, against Oregon, and then in a championship game. I don't think that Miami can do it, and I certainly don't think Tulane and James Madison can do it. So to me, I've got 5 teams I think can win a national championship here. The top 4 in Texas A&M. Jordan, have I misstepped greatly here in any way? Can A&M win the championship?
Unfortunately, and I might burn up, just combust into a million pieces right now when I say this, but I do think A&M can win it just off their defense is amazing. Now, I haven't really watched A&M outside of the LSU game, so I'm about to say I'm perceived that LSU O-line was just bad, but Howell looked like an absolute monster.
He's the first round pick. Yeah, he's awesome.
He looked mean, so I don't like Marcel Reed, but I respect Marcel Reed because when we was down there in Thibodeau for the Man and Passing Academy, he was like, "Oh yeah, I'm the Tiger Killer," and he came and killed LSU. So I gotta give credit where it's due. He's a man of his word. Said he's gonna do it and actually did a couple months later. So I think A&M can unfortunately get there, but we'll see. That's all I'm gonna say because A&M they're the bad news bears. You already know they're just.
If they lose on Saturday, I'll laugh through the new year. I mean, I may not even watch the Texas Bowl. I'll still be belly laughing. But what about my thought that Texas Tech, Ole Miss, Alabama, and Oklahoma cannot win the national championship?
Definitely not Alabama. They cannot run the ball, like you said. I'm not gonna I ain't gonna say they're soft, but they're
soft.
I can't say that. You can do that. I can't do that. I can't.
Soft.
I can't co-sign them.
I hope Marler's listening. Soft.
Yeah, he definitely is listening because he got on me about not seeing Home Alone. But, okay. Oklahoma, not in a million years. Mateer, not in a million years. Not buying that.
Offense is not great.
Texas Tech, I think Texas Tech, they're one of those teams where you need to crawl before you walk. Like I need to see them be here more consistently in this position to where I'm like, okay, but they got the donor, they got the money coming in, so we'll see. You're building on that. But I don't think Texas Tech. And definitely not Ole Miss. How I stand with Ole Miss. I know you don't like Tulane. I know you don't want to see the Green Wave get the W.
No, I do. I want Tulane to win desperately. I think they stink and have no chance.
Oh, okay.
That's what I think.
Well, I'm not going to say they stink, but I just need it for the
No, they definitely stink. They lost by 20 points to UTSA and 1,000 against Ole Miss. They stink.
I can't look. I just need Tulane just for the plot, just for the.
No, antics. I'd belly laugh through Christmas.
Oh yeah, I mean that would make my year honestly. So I don't think none of them can win the national championship. Texas Tech, I'm kind of leaning towards them more out of that group between Oklahoma and Alabama, but they got to be here a little bit more often before I co-sign them.
To finish off the thought, like having 5 teams right now, you think can win it? I think that's pretty healthy. Yeah. Pretty healthy for college football. It's a weird time. Weird stuff going on, but I think having 5 teams that I think have a legit chance to do it, and I'm excluding the 4 seed, and I think a lot of teams would not exclude them, but we'll see. I think that's a good thing. So we'll preview those games tomorrow and get into them and my thoughts on them, and maybe bet them against the spread as well. But just wanted to get a thought on big picture, like before we kick it off, what do we think can happen? And those are my 2 cents at this point. Take a time out, come back with Chris Blair, voice of the Tigers, next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Now we can talk about the Highland Insurance Group. Jonathan Carbo and his team at the Highland Insurance Group wish you a Merry Christmas. And they know they can help you out with property and casualty. They can also help you out with your group and employee benefits. There's been a carrier that some folks have in the benefit space that's really hiked things up on rates. And because of that, the Highland Insurance Group has gotten a lot of phone calls over the last 6 weeks. If your company, your carrier for your benefits, has really squeezed you on that renewal, call the Highland Insurance Group for a second option. They may be able to help you out. We know that benefits are a big, big deal in terms of acquiring talent and certainly keeping the talent in your organization. It's important, but it can be cost prohibitive at times, or it can feel that way. If you're feeling the heat with that increase on your renewal or scared it might come in the first quarter, call Jonathan Carbo and the Highland Insurance Group and let them help you out with your group and employee benefits. I tell you all the time about the property and casualty. They can still do that for you too, but they can help you on the benefits side as well. It's the Highland Insurance Group. They can help you out statewide here in the state of Louisiana. They're here in Baton Rouge. You can find them online at highlandig.com.
In South Louisiana, you can always count on good people coming together to help our children.
At Dreams Come True, we grant wishes for Louisiana children with life-threatening illnesses. But to do this, we need funds.
That's why we're trying to raise $100,000 for Dreams Come True by giving away the Blessed Children's School.
Make your backyard's dream come true while helping our kids.
Just go to dreampoolla.com and you can find out how your $25 donation might help win you a Duplessis pool.
Sometimes you ignore the signs, even when they're right in front of you. Problem gambling isn't always easy to spot. Know the signs, set your limit. Learn more about healthy gambling habits by visiting us online or text or call for free, confidential help now.
Lock Meredith, Sean Fagan and Associates has won for our clients over $175 million over the decades, but our greatest success is our clients who have chosen and trusted us to help them. Whether you hire us at all, give us a call. You've got nothing to lose. Hi, I'm Sean Fagan. If you get injured, you could be staring at medical bills, repair costs, and lost income. Life can be turned upside down. At Lock Meredith, Sean Fagan and Associates, we'll work to turn your world right side up. Hire us, and like thousands of our clients, you'll be glad you did.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Men, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar, but instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Sagrera Farms.
Talk some Saints and Jets coming up in 15 minutes. Luke Johnson of NOLA.com and The Advocate covers the black and gold with us on Thursday. So is Chris Blair, voice of the Tigers, who's with us now on the Jim's Firearms Hotline. Chris, how are you?
Doing good, Hunt. Getting ready for the holidays. You ready? I know you got a busy house.
I'm ready to roll. We've got things figured out. We got to get some stuff to Shreveport, maybe incognito in some cases, but we'll figure it out and we'll get there. I'm looking forward to that. And got basketball to look forward to on Friday night, and Myersman and I will be there for that one as well. Let's talk about it. I was impressed on Saturday in the Blender. What did you see from courtside?
Yeah, it was nice to see you kind of go by and enjoy yourself as a fan. You were sitting down below us. We were up there on the concourse, and it appeared you enjoyed what you saw. I felt the same way. I mean, obviously coming off the game we talked about last week, previous matchup over in Fort Worth, didn't go so well, and you and I talked about hoping on hope that maybe that was an anomaly from a shooting standpoint, even going back to the BC game in the second half. But offensively 63%, that'll get it done. And I'll be honest with you, Hunt, I really felt good in the first 5 minutes because I could just tell. I don't know if it was the travel those days leading up to that matchup with Texas Tech, although I would argue Texas Tech, I think, is a better team overall. But they were just a little more into it. There's a little more oomph defensively in the opening minutes. And then when you shoot the ball like that, good things go your way, and they did a good job on the glass. And you see a guy like Max McKinnon, you hit 7 of 8 from 3. I mean, that's, and I think Matt, Coach McMahon made a very good point to us after the game, Hunt, and he's probably said it many times. They want to be able to shoot the ball well from beyond the arc, but that's not their offense. Their offense is dribble drive, get to the paint, see what happens, dish the ball off. They got some good bigs that pass the ball, see the ball well. And you want the three-point shot to complement your bread and butter. And I think on Saturday in the Smoothie King, that's exactly what LSU did. They got some really good threes, got them some momentum, got them some confidence, and they were still able to get to the paint and get to the rim. And to me, that's the recipe for success for this team in every matchup.
For sure. And I thought that, McKinnon 7 of 8 for 3 is not sustainable. You can't get that every night. I think that when you see De'Don Thomas controlling the flow and dishing out 12 assists and kind of controlling where the shots come from, that's something that I think you can lean on. And you kind of touched on what they want to be, but all of it probably starts with the point guard, right?
Oh, 100%. I mean, you look at the Texas Tech game, and I'm going to give Texas Tech, again, credit. I think they were head and shoulders a much better defensive team than SMU. I mean, there were times the other night that SMU just, I don't know what they were thinking defensively. I mean, they just let DJ go from baseline to baseline and all the way to the rim. But when you look at the stat line, I hate to say this early without a conference game under their belt that as DJ goes, LSU goes. But I think we're starting to see that picture. That theory is quickly becoming law in scientific terms, just simply because against Texas Tech, 1 assist, 3 turnovers. Against SMU, 12 assists, and they gave him 2 turnovers, although I really think he just committed 1. But either way, that's a much better outcome from LSU anytime they're on the floor.
In this portal era, sometimes it's hard to pinpoint guys' roles in August, what it's going to look like in January. How would you describe Pablo Tamba's role on this team?
I mean, I think it's impressive just simply because of the fact, again, you kind of get the guttiness, the tough plays, making things that don't necessarily show up on the stat sheet, and he's done that every night. And suddenly you get, double-figure points. And his, running the floor and getting some transition buckets. To me, when you look at the roster, and I'm talking maybe the top 5 or 6, 7 players that you're going to use on a regular basis, when you get that from Tamba, I think LSU is going to always be in a good shot to win a game because he's going to do things. He plays great defense. I mean, he's quickly becoming the guy that Matt will tell you is their defensive guy. Like if they got to really slow somebody down, they typically will make a switch if it's not originally set up that way for Pablo to kind of take over that just be a pest the entire 40 minutes. But when you get 14 points out of him, and you're going to get rebounds almost every night, I mean that just makes LSU a lot more difficult to handle when you consider, as you say, McKinnon maybe doesn't have to hit 7 of 8, but if he can hit 3 or 4 threes, Thomas hits a 3 or 2, and then, of course, don't forget about Markel Sutton, who just, at least during the early going, is a double-double machine.
He certainly is. 3 more non-conference games. It starts tomorrow night with Southeastern. Anything you're looking for in that game from the Tigers?
Yeah, I mean, I think it comes down to LSU just improving on what they do. Again, they got to find a way to get Mike Nwoko minutes on the floor. He's got to be able to play it's kind of a double-edged sword. He's got to be able to stay out of foul trouble, but at some point he's just going to have to learn how to play with 2 and possibly 3, and then late in the game 4 fouls, just because of his presence, just the size that he goes with. But if you look at that game, depending on the matchup you're going to have, I mean, I was impressed with LSU going a little smaller the majority of the second half, especially early on. After, SMU made that little run in the final 3 or 4 minutes to make it a 3-point game, I thought LSU came out and decided to go a little smaller. And again, I think the athleticism just overtook SMU. But, I think most nights in the SEC, you got to have Nwoko on the floor more than 18, 19 minutes a game.
This is the last time we'll talk to you before LSU kicks it off in the Texas Bowl. It's obviously a different world than it was 10 years ago for a bowl game, but what do you think about that matchup in Houston as we sit here about, I guess now 9 days out?
I mentioned it to you last week, and I don't know if I can even describe it the way I feel or the way I think about this. I just get the sense, because I know people at Houston, I think Houston looks at this game a lot differently than, say, LSU does. And I'm not saying that Houston did not have their eye. I know Coach Fritz very well. We're very close friends. They have their eye on being in the college football playoffs, so I know they were disappointed in that. But I think they're looking at this game a little differently than LSU. And again, that's because you're going to have some younger guys, some guys we didn't see a lot of this season, probably have to play the majority of snaps when it's all said and done, just based on injuries and based on what eventually will be some possible opt-outs, you assume. And so that's, again, when you're just talking about the game itself, I mentioned to you last week, it's a wonderful thing that you get these practices. Again, Coach Kiffin and his staffers here and there, but, they do get a sense of what they want to have come back. They can identify the guys they think they can work with. So that's a good thing. But I wonder about, again, as a whole going over there, against a team that I think at least right now, they want to win this game bad. And that is the Houston Cougars. So that, to me, I mean, the trick for Coach Wilson and the staff that takes the Tigers over to Houston is really to get them amped up and fired up to play this game. And to me, I just think, to your point about 10 years ago, bowl games being differently, I just think it takes a little extra effort in these situations now for programs like LSU to get these guys fired up, create their own energy in an NFL stadium that who knows how many people will be there. I know they say it's a sellout. We'll wait and see. But to me, that's the big question, is which team wants to go out there and win this game, not for next year, not for this season, but the game that happens on the 27th at 8:15.
We'll see you in the PMAC tomorrow, LSU and Southeastern. Thanks, Chris.
You got it, Chief.
Chris Blair, voice of the Tigers, will be on the call for LSU and Southeastern tomorrow, 7 o'clock tip-off, 6:30 pregame on Eagle 98.1, and he'll be on the call for the Texas Bowl week from Saturday, which is today's Thursday, week from the day after tomorrow. Days get real fuzzy at the end of the year here. Week from Saturday from Houston, Texas, 8:15. We'll be on the air for pregame at 6:15 from the stadium, getting ready for LSU and Houston. Thanks to Chris for giving us a little bit of time on this Thursday. We'll step aside, chat with Luke Johnson about the Saints and the Jets coming up next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Really cool to tell you about Marucci each and every day, the official bat of Major League Baseball, which is quite a leap from 20 years ago when they founded this in a shed in a backyard here in Baton Rouge. And now here in Baton Rouge, we've got access to the place that makes the best bats in the world. And you can go tour the facility. You can get a campus tour. Go get tickets at maruccisports.com/campus-tour. Maybe easier to tell you just to go to maruccisports.com. Get those tickets. You can go get a campus tour. You can also go take some hacks. And it's not too late right now as we sit here on the 18th, a week from Christmas, to go. And if you've got a youth softball player in your house, if you've got a youth baseball player in your house and they want some gear for the upcoming spring season, Marucci's got all that covered for you. It's an amazing, amazing facility that puts out 1,200 bats every day. Go see how it's made. Step into the heart of it all at Marucci. You can get a campus tour, maruccisports.com/campus-tour, maruccisports.com.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
South Louisiana, it's turnaround season, and River Parish Contractors is calling in the best of the best. We're hiring pipe fitters, ironworkers, boiler makers, combo and structural welders, rig welders, carpenters, crane operators, dirt operators, and more. If you're ready to work, ready to earn, and ready to build something that lasts, call Big Jake at 318-547-1000 or go to rpcontractors.com. River Parish Contractors. Let's get building.
We typically think of stress as being bad for us. At Our Lady of the Lake and LSU, we are researching how certain types of stress, such as exercise, can be good for our immune health. By studying people under extreme stress, such as athletes, astronauts, service members, and first responders, we're learning how to improve the immune health of everyone. That's the power of research. That's the impact of champions. Together, we roar.
I'm Gabrielle McLeod on behalf of the Louisiana Propane Dealers. I have spent hundreds of hours preparing for scholarship competitions. That preparation paid off when I won the Fitness and Talent Awards along with the title of Miss Louisiana. The Louisiana Propane Dealers are also pretty talented and want you to be prepared for when the power goes out. Visit louisianapropane.com to find out about propane generators and other safety tips. Louisiana Propane, it truly is the fuel for our future.
I'm Lawyer Locke Meredith. We are honored and humbled to receive from our clients in Google, based on 5-star client reviews, the designation of our law firm is highly recommended. Whether you hire us at all, please give us a call, 272-5555. You have nothing to lose.
Hi, I'm Mitchell Meredith. Injuries happen when you least expect them to, making your life more complicated. At Locke Meredith, Sean Fagan & Associates, we know this, and we strive to help each of our clients during these times. Whether you hire us at all, give us a call at 272-5555.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Sagrera Farms.
Thursday show is brought to you by Sagrera Farms, premium Angus beef. Let's talk Saints. They'll host the Jets coming up on Sunday in the Dome. Luke Johnson will be there in the home finale before the Saints hit the road for the final 2 weeks. He joins us now on the Jim's Firearms Hotline. Luke, how we doing?
Buddy, I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on.
Everybody's doing great in New Orleans. The Saints are back, right?
Looks like it. Feels like it. And I guess we'll get a real good sense of that on Sunday, whether they can take care of business against a bad Jets team that looks like it's actively trying to lose. I feel like this is an opportunity for the Saints to be like, yeah, we're going to go out and win this game. And if they don't, then like all these good vibes are totally irrevocably gone. Like if they can't beat this bad Jets team that's like starting an undrafted rookie quarterback. So we'll see. We'll see if they stay on, man. But it has been really fun the last couple of weeks.
Where are you on Tyler Shuck? Obviously, there's a lot of good vibes because they're winning games. What's your overall thesis?
Yeah, I mean, I'm ready to say he's definitely the guy next year. You want to see him do it over more than a 6-game sample size, before you can say he's a franchise quarterback. But like the stuff that he's doing right now is really, really impressive. I mean, he's winning on clutch downs in clutch situations. He's given him a presence with his legs. I think that his teammates really, really respond to him, which is important. There's nothing that he's doing right now that makes me like really have any pause about him whatsoever. The stuff that's been really impressive is just growth in specific areas that you want to see from a young quarterback. I looked at it this week. His first 3 games when he was being blitzed, so 5 or more rushers from the defense, he completed 6 of his 20 passes, and that kind of goes back to what we talked about coming into the year. It's like, can he perform under pressure? And it wasn't necessarily always the case in his first couple of games. In his last 3 games, he's 19 for 25 for 189 yards and 2 touchdowns. It's pretty good. That'll work, and it's such a huge improvement over the start of the season for him. At least his first starts. So, like, the fact that he's showing growth, the fact that he's coming up in the big moments, the fact that he has taken this Saints team, which has really been atrocious all year, and got him playing 500 ball with him at quarterback, and really should be 4-2 if Chris Olave makes a play that Chris Olave would tell you he should make. You can't feel anything but really good about him.
This is a layered question, but we see Shuck pushing the ball down the field, making throws into some tighter windows, doing things are pretty impressive. And we didn't see much of that at all from Spencer Rattler early on. There was so much check down. Do we think that that's because Shuck is running the same offense and just doing it better? Do we think that Kellen Moore is feeling like he can take the training wheels off? I mean, I think you get what I'm getting at, but why is he having more success in doing things down the field that we didn't see from Spencer Rattler?
This is maybe a little bit too much psychoanalyzing for me, but Spencer Rattler had an opportunity, right? And it was like playing like he didn't want to lose the job.
Yeah.
And I thought, look, I think he played really well, right? I think he opened a lot of eyes, and there are a lot of people around the league who see him as a potential starting quarterback. But I don't think the checkdowns and the kind of lack of explosion in the passing game was really a factor of the play calling. Like, they were calling shots every week. They were having Rashid Shaheed and Chris Olave run these big clear outs, and there was an element of teams playing like umbrella coverage against them, putting 2 safeties over the top and trying to take that away, because that's what the Saints did really well last year. But there was also just a reticence to kind of chuck the ball downfield. And when you started to see him lose his grip on the job a little bit, like he started getting a little bit more aggressive, and we saw the turnover numbers jump up.
Yeah.
And I think Tyler has, for the most part, especially in these last 5 weeks, let's call it, he's played loose, and he is really ripping the ball downfield. And it's not just the deep throws. Like, he's hit on a couple of them, but those intermediate throws, 10 to 20 yards downfield, like, he is really, really good in there, and the numbers back it up. He's been one of the better on a per throw basis quarterbacks in the NFL on those intermediate throws, which is so crucial to an offense moving the ball. You want to be completing those checkdowns when they're available, and that's all well and good. But if you're trying to string together 12 play drive after 13 play drive after 11 play drive, that's hard on an offense. I think the fact that it's opened up a little bit, I think, to me is just more of a willingness to be aggressive with the football.
What's been the most impressive thing the defense has done in this 4 or 5 game stretch?
There's a lot that I really like about it. I think since week 9, they've got the number 1 pass defense in the NFL, and this is, they haven't played this murderer's row of quarterbacks, but they're also in a lot of competitive games, meaning teams aren't just trying to run the clock out on them. So I really like that. I think the play of their young secondary has been a huge plus for them this year. But to me, the reason they're winning games is because they're getting off the field in gotta have it situations. And this is a defense that was really bad last year in 3rd and 1, 4th and 1, when it's just okay, who's going to get this yard here? And they've been excellent this year. They've got 5 stops on 4th and 1 this year. They just got another one in this last game. They are allowing teams to convert just over 50% on 3rd and 1 or 4th and 1 this year, which is number 6 in the NFL. It's a more than a 10% increase or decrease since last year. Whichever way you want to look at it, it's 10% better than it was last year. We're talking about 10% of 50 to 70 plays. That's like talking about 6-7 drives that keep going and score touchdowns. Like that stuff adds up over the course of a year. So I've been really impressed by those guys. It's a lot of the dirty work guys that don't get a lot of credit. Devon Godshaw, Jonathan Bullard, guys who like never pop out on a box score or like the highlight reel, but like they're making plays, and they're eating up blocks to allow the linebackers and the second level defenders to make plays. So that to me has been one of the most impressive turnarounds for this team. Because I mean, you remember last year's defense. I mean, they were a sieve in a lot of ways, but especially in those gotta-have-it situations.
No question. Luke Johnson's our guest with NOLA.com and The Advocate, covers the black and gold. Let's look at the Saints team from a running the football perspective on Sunday. Who is going to be available to do that?
I don't know. You got any cleats hanging around at your house?
Not a single one. Hadn't had one in 15 years.
Somebody asked me, the quintessential, how many yards do you think you could get in an NFL football game? I'm like, less than 0. But I mean, the guys they have out there are guys who don't have a lot more experience than I do. Yep. It's looking like Audric Estime, who obviously made a couple of really nice plays in that game-winning drive last week, and Evan Hull. And that's pretty much it. They signed Nyheim Hines to the practice squad. I'd be surprised if he plays much, if any, of a role Sunday, just because he's been on the team for one day. Today was his first practice. But I mean, I'm not expecting Alvin Kamara to be out there. Devin Neal's already been ruled out. So it's going to be really up to those two guys, and probably, sprinkle in some Tyler Shuck and Taysom Hill QB runs. But I mean, it's not much. Like, they don't have a lot to go with. The good news is, if they're going to play any game with, essentially guys who were on practice squads earlier this year at running back, it's good to do it against this Jets defense that just is really, really bad.
It is, and they don't have two of their best players because they traded them. So that helps with New Orleans in this instance. Is there a good chance that we've seen the last of Devon Bailey for the season?
I don't know. They did sign a receiver, and he's 6'4", which makes you start to think about things. They don't have a practice squad spot available, so he's taken somebody's spot on the active roster. Yeah. We're going to find out soon enough who that is. But it would suck if that's the case, because Bailey was really coming on so strong, and he was a really big part of what made Tyler Shuck really good these last couple of weeks. All those gotta have it downs, those 3rd and 6s, 3rd and 11s, they were all going to Bailey. So I hope we haven't seen the last of them, but I think there's a legitimate chance that's the issue here.
I'm assuming you like to change stances on Sunday. How do you like their chances over the next 2 weeks in total?
Yeah, I feel good about them winning 2 out of the next 3, and maybe this is just me drinking the Kool-Aid. Like, I've been guilty of that before this season. Seeing 1 or 2 really good efforts and thinking I think they're going to win the next game, and then they just make me look like an absolute idiot. But right now they're an ascending team, and they're a team that is placing more emphasis on playing good football down the stretch than they are on where they're going to be picking in the draft. And I think when you're looking across the line to the Jets this week, they're starting an undrafted rookie free agent quarterback. There are other 2 quarterbacks who they've played throughout the year, 2 veterans in Justin Fields and Tyrod Taylor. They're both on the injury report, but they're limited. If you're looking at a team that's trying to win, you'd think one of those 2 guys would be playing. Instead, they've already said, it's going to be Brady Cook. And that to me is just a team that is, it's already thinking about 2026. You should win that game. You should win the Titans game. The Titans have been a mess all season. But this is obviously all dependent on Tyler Shuck, right? Can he maintain this really excellent level that we've seen from him in the last couple of weeks? And there's peaks and valleys, with rookies. The growth is never linear with these guys. It may be too much to expect out of them, especially with the Saints dealing with a lot of injuries. But I'm feeling pretty good about this team. I'm feeling much better about this team than I have really at any point in the last year.
Y'all have an awesome Christmas. Enjoy the football over the weekend. We'll talk down the road. I know we probably got a couple of shows off with Christmas and the New Year, but we'll catch up with you soon.
Sounds good, buddy. See you soon.
He's Luke Johnson with the Advocate, NOLA.com. Catch him on Twitter @ByLukeJohnson. He'll be in the Dome on Sunday for Saints and Jets. I'll tell you, Jordan, like the vibes are a lot better in those interviews. It just feels a lot better.
I mean, he came on the phone. So I feel him. I feel him, man. Vibes are high, man. This is Shuck City.
Everybody likes it.
Yeah.
Everybody likes it. I'm in. Let's get it done. Got to win the last 3, and then we'll really feel like it may be on to something. We shall see. We'll come back and close it out next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Fabry Chevrolet GMC. Fabry Chevrolet GMC. You can find them online at fabrychevrolet.com. If you're getting on the road next week and you want to make sure your car is ready to rock, well, go to Fabry Chevrolet GMC. Well, you might look at me and say, "Hon, I don't have a GMC or a Chevrolet. I'm not going there to get my car serviced." You can. They service all makes in the service department there in St. Francisville on Highway 61. If you're thinking, wait a second, I've seen that dealership on 61 in St. Francisville. That's not a Fabry. It is now. They were new ownership as of October. They've got a huge inventory of new and pre-owned. And you can check them out at Highway 61 in St. Francisville or online at fabrychevrolet.com. Tahoes, Silverados on the Chevy side, Sierras, Yukons, Denali's, all your GMCs as well. They've got you covered, and you know when you visit a Fabry automotive dealership, you're going to get incredible customer service. They've been a pillar in this community for 35 years in business in the auto industry. Check them out, Highway 61 in St. Francisville, or online at fabrychevrolet.com. That's Fabry Chevrolet GMC.
After a decade of working in private duty nursing, I know how hard it can be to find compassionate care for the ones that you love the most. So I started Decision Critical, a premier concierge nursing agency, so we can take care of you wherever you are. Our highly skilled nurses provide exceptional care from the comfort of your own home with personalized packages for short-term, long-term, or even around-the-clock care. Visit us at decisioncriticalbr.com and give us a call today to get started.
You gotta believe in a dream. Believe. You gotta believe in a dream. Believe. You gotta believe. My whole team on wild.
Today, we are shaping tomorrow.
We are researching how extreme stress impacts the immune system, from trauma victims to athletes and even astronauts.
Our work is leading the way in sepsis treatment, saving countless lives.
We're unlocking the mind with music in exciting new ways.
Our Lady of the Lake Health and LSU are improving the health of our state.
That's the impact of champions.
Imagine the impact we'll have on the future. Together, we roar.
I'm lawyer Collins Locke Meredith. Among the most important factors to consider when you're hiring an injury attorney is trust. You trust your attorney will put your interest first, treat you with respect, fairness, and honesty. You trust them to be there for you when you need them. At Locke Meredith, Sean Fagan and Associates, thousands of clients have trusted us to represent them, and for good reasons. Please visit us at LockeMeredith.com to learn more, and whether you hire us at all, give us a call at 272-5555. You have nothing to lose.
Looking for cleaner energy? Propane is energy for everyone. And when you're cooking with clean, affordable propane, you're cooking with gas. In the wintertime, nothing heats a home like Louisiana propane. And when you need hot water, propane's got you covered. Oh, and you won't regret that propane generator when the power goes out. I'm Miss Louisiana, Gabrielle McLeod, and to find more information and to find a propane dealer near you, visit louisianapropane.com.
My father, J.B. Falgu, had a vision of growth for First American Bank and the communities we serve. The bank's foundation was built on his legacy of compassion, loyalty, and dedication. Through his years of leadership, First American has prospered to heights even J.B. could not have imagined. I know my father would be extremely proud of the customer service and financial stability that First American provides to Southeast.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Sagrera Farms.
All right, wrapping things up on a Thursday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. We're brought to you by Sagrera Farms Premium Angus Beef. tender, flavorful, available just north of Baton Rouge in Ethel. I tell you this story all the time with Sagrera Farms. You talk about categories of beef. You've got select, which on an IMF score is somewhere between 0 and 3. You've got choice, which is between 3 and 8. That's about 60% of the beef that you see out there. Then you got prime, which is 8 and above on this scale. The beef at Sagrera Farms is all prime. They're not guessing. They've genetically produced these products, and they've got them ultrasounded. And you're talking about IMF scores, 9 being prime, 12, 15, 18, 20. In some cases, twice the standard of prime. There's 2 places you can get Sagrera Farms beef. At the farm or at Summer Club. It's right here. Some of the best beef in the country, just outside Baton Rouge. So call Sean, get on by the farm, and fill your freezer with some delicious Sagrera Farms premium Angus beef. I'm going to see Sean on Sunday. Looking forward to it. Going to get some beef and head down to New Orleans for Christmas present for my aunt and uncle. So we're going to do that coming up on Sunday. You can do the same over at Sagrera Farms. All right, we'll wrap up this show with some Take It or Leave It.
Take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Presented to you by Flight by Yingling, the next generation of light beer, crafted by America's oldest brewery. Today's hottest stories in sports, news, and sometimes even Hunt's life. The question is, will he take them or leave them?
Flight by Yingling, next generation of light beer. I'm going to have a couple flights tonight at the company Christmas party. Just watch me. Going to be delicious. If you got a party coming up, you're heading out for the holidays, if you just want something cold to drink at the house, Flight by Yingling is the next generation of light beer. It's only 95 calories, 2.6 carbs. It's Flight by Yingling.
All right, so yesterday we talked about Puka Nacua. Well, today we're going to talk about his brother, Samson Nacua, former Saint, as he was arrested last night with another guy for stealing a vehicle belonging to Lakers forward Aldo Thero. Nacua was suspended for 1 game earlier this year by the UFL for slapping a fan during the altercation during a loss, following a loss. So are the Nacua brothers the new bad boys? Take it or leave it.
I mean, I'll take it for now. I don't know the Nacua brothers. Why are we stealing cars? This is a prank, or is this...
No.
Why? What?
Stolen, broken to this guy? The Lakers forward, Aldo Thero, I think, played with Coach Kyle.
So he was playing in the SEC.
Yeah.
So here's the deal. Samson
Nacua.
Pick up the phone. Yeah. Say, Puka, I need whatever that car is. Just buy me one of those.
Yes.
That's the call. That's all you have to do. Just I would like that car, and he can buy it.
Yeah.
There is no car Puka Nacua can't buy. So
Literally.
Just do that.
So I
don't steal the car.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with the Nacua brothers. Like I said, yesterday we talked about Puka coming out talking about the reps. So they're not having the best time.
Chill out, Nacuas. It's the holiday season.
Literally.
Calm down.
Okay, so Jake Paul and Anthony Joshua made weight for their heavyweight fight tomorrow, live on Netflix. So everybody can watch it. It's live on Netflix. Paul weighed in at 216 today, while Anthony Joshua came in at 243 pounds. Can Jake Paul pull off the upset? Take it or leave it?
Leave it. I don't know who these people are. Jake Paul's on the internet on this. Here's one thing I want to say about boxing.
Yes.
I do have an appreciation for boxing. I wouldn't call myself a boxing fan. I know that it was huge like in the 80s and 90s, and it's not what it once was. There's a guy that just retired, undefeated, holder of 3 belts, and I've never heard of him. Like, that is a problem for boxing. Like, I'm around the sports world. I'm around national sports broadcast. There's a dude who went like something in O, and I never heard of him.
42
Come on now, y'all got to do a little bit more promoting than that. I need to have heard of this guy.
See, I think the problem is it's the money fights now. Now it's all about the money fights.
Yeah.
Like the Jake Paul, Mike Tyson fights. Like, those fights are just watering the sport down. So, last but not least, everybody's, I guess used to be most hated quarterback, Las Vegas Raiders minority owner Tom Brady told Shaquille O'Neal and Adam Lefkoe on the Big podcast with Shaq that he believes he could still play in the NFL at age 48 in the wake of seeing Phillip Rivers return to the league. So he said, and I quote, "I'd whoop blank right now. I go out there and play and give me 1 month. I mean, I could go out there and play with anybody." Can Tom Brady still do it at 48? Take it or leave it.
I'll take it.
I'll take it.
I think. Fine, do it. Would he win the Super Bowl? No. But could he play at the level that some of the bottom players in the NFL play at quarterback? Sure. Phillip Rivers out there won a game last week.
Yeah.
You run the ball, play a little defense, and ask Brady to throw 27 passes. Like, yeah, he's in ridiculous shape. He's a cyborg of a human. Like, I don't want him to. He wouldn't win the MVP anymore.
Yeah.
I don't want. There are 20 other guys I'd rather have, but could he go out there and play on a Sunday and not look ridiculous?
Yeah,
like,
no, okay,
yes,
I agree with
he
you.
He could
Yes,
do that.
yes.
I have very little doubt he could do that.
Yes, Tom Brady definitely can go out there and spin. I don't know if we can do a full 17 games, but he can go out there and spin at least one or two.
One of those deals where you know that Father Time's going to win eventually, and he can't beat Tom Brady anymore, but it's a standard you're trying to play to. You're trying to play to, I don't even know who the Browns he can play better than Shedeur Sanders right now.
Yeah, he could.
I think.
It's Tom Brady. That's it for take it or leave it.
All right. Looking forward to the Guaranteed Company Christmas party this evening, but we still will be back with you tomorrow. If you missed any of today's show, catch it on demand wherever you find your sound. Talked a little Michael Van Buren at the top of the show. You can find that at Hunt on LSU. Talked some Saints rebuild. You can find that at Hunt on Saints. You can also find our conversation with Luke Johnson, which was really good, at Hunt on Saints as well. Matt's going to drive you home next. It's After Further Review. We're back tomorrow, same time, same place for a Friday edition. The Hunt Palmer.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Just about hit that right. Didn't do it. First American Bank and Trust. First American Bank and Trust. If you've been doing something 115 years, it stands to reason you're probably pretty good at it. And First American Bank and Trust is just an impressive and amazing part of our community. They've now spread to 25 locations throughout Southeast Louisiana. So wherever you are, there's a First American Bank and Trust near you, whether that's around the Baton Rouge area, Jones Creek, Dutchtown, you stretch over to I-12, you find them in St. Tammany, Tangipahoa Parish, go down south of I-10, even St. James, St. John, down to Lafourche Parish. No matter where you are, there's a First American Bank and Trust. Their management experience averages 25 years with the company at each branch. It's an amazing community bank and an amazing community feel with the national resources that you're looking for. Every single decision made locally at First American Bank and Trust. Stop in and see them. They want to wish everybody a very Merry Christmas. It's First American Bank and Trust.